Thank you for being here. Before we get started, you will need a couple of yoga props for this practice. So I recommend having at least 2 pillows, a yoga strap, and perhaps a yoga block if you know that you like to practice with one. If you don't have a yoga strap, you could use a belt or a scarf or a pair of sweatpants. And if you don't have a yoga block, you could use a thick book or a folded up blanket. You can set both the yoga block and strap off to the side for now. And we will get started in a Supta Baddha Konasana, but a supported version of that. So taking your pillows, you can sort of lay them one next to the other on your mat. And then we'll make our way onto our backs. So lining up the bottom of our spine with the bottom of the pillow. And then lowering yourself down. And from here, we'll take the soles of the feet together and letting the knees fall open. If this is already feeling quite uncomfortable in your hips, you could always place a pillow under either knee to provide extra support, or you could always bring your knees into a constructive rest pose, so taking the feet wider than the hips and letting the knees knock together in the center. Otherwise, we're in a Supta Baddha Konasana, so letting gravity help open up our knees. And we can take our arms out to a height that is comfortable for you, one where you're finding maybe an unraveling across the heart space. Taking whatever adjustments you need to get comfortable. And then on your own time, whenever you're ready, I invite you to either close your eyes or soften your gaze. Something to keep in mind for the next hour or so is that this practice is invitational. So if at any point something does not feel supportive for what you need tonight, please do not do it. I invite you to honor your body and your needs as a priority. And so as we're laying here, beginning to tune into the breath, noticing your inhales and your exhales. The past couple of years have been extraordinarily difficult and challenging in so many ways. But you made it, you're here, you did it, and your body helped you do that. Now, can you let your body be supported in the same way that it has supported you? Letting the earth hold you as you begin to soften. This is enough. You are enough. Everything is enough. You don't have to do anything else here. And so continuing to tune in, maybe on your next inhale, seeing if you can sip in one more bit of air, letting your belly expand even more. And as you exhale, letting it soften as your belly softens even closer to your spine. Letting your face relax. And so I'll invite Brahmari Pranayam or honeybee breath. So you don't have to do anything different with your inhales, but as we exhale, you can invite a soft, almost like humming sound to come out of your mouth, keeping your entire face relaxed as you do so. So for the length of your exhale, letting this soft humming sound to emerge. Letting your inhales continue to fill you up with air and humming. All the way through your exhale. And so you can continue to explore this on your own breath, and I'll speak a little bit about why we're doing what we're doing. So honeybee breath or Brahmari helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, or this rest and digest side. So helping to calm the mind and calm the body. It can help release any emotions that you're holding. It can help cultivate more presence and concentration. Brahmari is also a good pranayam to practice, especially if you suffer from headaches or hypertension or insomnia. This breath has lots of different benefits. We'll take maybe 3 or 4 more here. So inhaling, filling up. And so letting that go and returning to your normal breath. And know that we'll return to this breath later in this practice. And so continuing to let ourselves be entirely supported here. I invite you to name for yourself one thing for which you have gratitude. That can be anything, but one thing that you feel grateful for, that you can hold close to your heart throughout this practice as something you can return to. And then naming one thing to yourself that you can let go of for the rest of this practice to help you be more present here. Whether that be a situation or a feeling or something that you have to do after this, one thing that you can put on pause so that you can allow yourself to be more present here. And taking a couple more deep breaths to let those two things settle. And on our next inhale, using our hands to help close the knees together, and then hugging them into the chest. We'll take a gentle spinal twist, so letting both knees fall to the right. Arms can extend out in a T, out to either side. And either keeping your gaze upwards, or you can let it fall towards that left hand. And if you notice that your knees are hanging in space and it's uncomfortable for you, you could always remove the pillows from behind your back and use those to support your knees. But wherever you land, continuing to connect with your breath. And on our next inhale, we'll bring the knees back through center and then letting them fall over to the left side. And gaze can remain upwards or towards the right hand this time. You have the same option here to support the knees with a pillow or two. Then on your next inhale, bringing the knees back up through center and placing both hands on either knee and using that to help lift you up into a seated position. We'll move the pillows off to the side. And we'll make our way into a tabletop position, so coming onto hands and knees. Fingers are spread nice and wide, shoulder distance apart. Knees are hip distance apart. We'll move through a few rounds of cat and cow, so inhaling as the belly drops and the gaze lifts. And exhale as our spine curves, gazing inwards. We'll inhale, dropping the belly. And exhale, really pressing through the palms to help round out the spine. Inhale through cow as the gaze lifts. And exhale to cat. And so you can continue to move through cat and cow on your own breath, maybe inviting some intuitive movement. And by that I mean seeing if you can tune in to how your body wants to move. There is no wrong way of doing that. But if your breath and your body are guiding the movement, that is exactly right. Maybe you play with flipping the wrists in a couple different directions, or circling out the head or the pelvis. Finding movement that feels good in your body. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. On our next inhale, we'll come back to a neutral tabletop. We'll tuck the toes. And as we exhale, we'll sink our hips back towards our heels. On our inhale, we'll roll forward, cat-like with the back. And as we exhale, we'll cow tilt the pelvis and our hips will sink back towards our heels. We'll do that a few more times. So inhale, rolling forward through the spine to a tabletop position. And as we exhale, cow tilt of the pelvis as our hips sink towards our heels. Our inhales roll us forward. And as we exhale, we'll wave our hips back. We'll inhale, rolling forward through the spine. This time as we exhale, our knees will begin to lift, our hips will lift. We'll come into a downward facing dog, or Adho Mukha Svanasana. So you can keep a nice deep bend in your knees here.
The deeper you bend in your knees, the more room you will have for your spine to be nice and long. Fingers are still spread nice and wide. You can think about sending some of the weight to the thumb and pointer finger to take any tension out of the wrists. Taking another breath here to let the back body begin to open. And on our next inhale, we'll bring the right foot forward outside the right hand to the right edge of the mat, letting the left knee drop, coming into a lizard. So right foot outside, right hand, checking in with that right knee and ankle that they are in one line. And here can be a nice place if you have a yoga block. You can bring the floor a little bit closer to you. But working a little bit into the hips here. Keeping our spine nice and long. And on our next inhale, we'll begin tucking into those left toes, lifting the left knee, bringing the right foot back to the left, coming back into that downward facing dog. Taking a breath here to reset. And we'll take that on the left. So inhaling that left foot forward, stepping it outside the left hand, letting that right knee drop to the ground, maybe untucking your right toes. Knee and ankle are in line. So it's okay if you need to maybe use your hand to help scoot that foot forward. And again, you have the option here for a block or two for your hands to help give you a little more room in your hips and spine. Finding your breath wherever you are. And from here, we'll tuck those right toes, lifting the right knee, stepping back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And from here, we'll drop the knees, untuck the toes. Big toes coming together to meet. You can take your knees out as wide as you would like. Making our way into child's pose or balasana. So walking the hands forward. Letting your forehead rest down onto the mat. Reconnect with your breath here if you've lost it. Come back to the thing that you are grateful for. We'll reconnect with that Brahmari Pranayam. So inhaling, letting your belly expand, and taking that humming sound on your exhale. We'll do that 2 more times. So inhaling, filling up. And letting that go, we'll begin pressing into the palms to lift ourselves forward and up. And from here, we'll tuck our toes again, lifting our hips, coming back into downward facing dog. And so we'll take that same little movement that we did before and add on maybe ever so slightly. So we'll inhale, stepping that right foot forward, letting the left knee drop, coming back into that lizard. So right foot is outside of the right hand, opening up the hips. Spine is nice and long. Wherever you are, you can breathe. And so the option is to either stay here, or if you would like, you can begin to inhale that right arm up. And exhale, extend it back behind us. So spiraling the heart to the right side. And again, you could always stay here. If you would like to work a little bit into the quadriceps, you can begin lifting that left foot off of the ground, bringing it towards that right hand. If the hand and foot connect, you can point your toes and hold on to that left foot with the right hand. Otherwise, reaching in the direction of that left foot. So we're using the strength of our left leg here to bring the foot to the hand. And then if your hand and foot connect, you can gently draw that left foot slightly closer to your left glute using your right hand. Whatever variation you are in, you are still connected to your breath. If your hand and foot are connected, slowly releasing that. And then inhaling the right arm up and exhaling, planting it back by the left. Then we'll tuck the left toes, lifting the left knee, stepping back, downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths here. And we'll repeat that on the left. So coming into that left lizard. Left foot coming outside, left fingers, right knee can drop. Finding your body in this shape. Maybe it feels a little different than the first time we did it. Maybe it doesn't, and that's okay. And so again, you have the option to stay here, right as we are, or keeping the right hand planted. We'll inhale the left hand up and exhale, extending it back behind us, heart spiraling towards the left. And again, either staying here, or if you would like to work into the quadricep a bit more, you can begin lifting the right toes off of the ground, bringing them towards the right glute. Maybe your hand and foot connect, and if they do, you can point those right toes and hold on to that foot with the left hand. But we're using, again, the strength of that leg to draw the foot in rather than the strength of the arm to yank that leg in. Wherever you are, see if you can soften a little more. And if your hand and foot are connected, you can begin to slowly let that go. We'll inhale the left arm up and exhale as it plants next to the right. We'll inhale, tucking the right toes, lifting the right knee. Left foot steps back into one final downward facing dog. And then dropping the knees, untucking the toes, big toes come to meet, taking the knees out nice and wide, coming back into Balasana, walking the hands forward, letting the forehead rest down. And for one more time, we will return to Bhramari Pranayam. That honeybee breath. So we'll inhale, filling up, belly expanding into the thighs. And we'll take that humming sound on our exhale. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, filling up. Last time, keeping the face nice and soft. and letting that go. Let yourself again be supported here by the earth, and for a couple more breaths. And then on your next inhale, begin walking the hands back towards your body. From here, we'll swing the legs around out in front of us. We'll come into Janu Shirshasana, so extending the right leg forward and bringing the left knee, or left foot rather, in by the right knee, letting the left knee fall out towards the side. We'll come into a more supportive, restorative version of this pose. So taking one or both pillows and letting it rest on that right thigh. We'll grow nice and tall through the spine. If you have a lot of tension in your hips here, you can always sit on a pillow as well to raise your hips up a little. Growing nice and tall through the spine, we'll inhale the arms up. And as we exhale, we'll begin extending our torso forward. And once you sort of find your limit, you can let yourself round over and be fully supported, resting on top of this pillow. You might need to adjust it a little bit so that you can feel fully supported here. But seeing if you can release any tension or any holding out of your upper body and your lower body through the support of these pillows. Now on our next inhale, we'll begin to lift ourselves up. And setting that pillow to the side, we'll kind of come into a counter movement. So planting the left hand kind of diagonal back behind you, fingertips pointing away from the body. We'll inhale, sweeping that right arm forward and across, lifting the hips, pressing into that left palm, opening up through the front body. This can look like anything as long as it feels good to you. And we'll exhale, coming back down and switching out the legs. We'll take the left leg straight, bending into that right leg. Again, placing one or two pillows on top of that left thigh. We'll inhale the arms up, nice and tall through the spine. And as we exhale, beginning to bend forward, keeping the spine nice and long until you find when you can't go any further. And then from there, letting yourself round over. Letting yourself soften. Taking any adjustments that you need. in order to do so. And on our next inhale, lifting ourselves up, setting the pillow to the side, coming into that counter movement. So planting the right hand somewhere diagonal behind you, sweeping the left arm across, lifting the hips, pressing into the right palm, opening the front body. And exhale, coming back down. Scooting your hips forward just a little bit if you need to. We'll begin making our way onto our backs. And so taking your yoga strap or whatever you have and setting it about halfway down your mat where you'll be able to easily grab it. And then lowering yourself down onto your back, hugging your knees in and giving a little rock here from side to side. Massaging out the low back. And then coming back into stillness, keeping the right knee hugged in. Left foot will plant on the ground. Foot in line with the hip, knee pointing skyward. And then taking your yoga strap. And we'll hook it around the arch of that right foot. And keeping the spine nice and long on the mat, we'll begin inhaling that right leg straight. And it's okay if you want to keep a nice bend in that right leg. But straightening it to an extent where you can feel some opening happen in the backside of that right leg. You can either stay here or you can extend that left leg long onto the mat as well. And have some opening on the top of that left hip. So finding what is best for you. And then wherever you are, planting the left foot on the mat, knee pointing skyward, bending back into that right knee, removing the yoga strap, setting that off to the side, keeping the right foot flexed. We'll cross the ankle on top of that left knee, coming into a reclined figure 4 position. So right knee is extending towards the right side to begin opening more into that right hip. If you're already feeling some opening, then this is where you can stay. Otherwise, you can begin lifting that left foot off of the ground and maybe reaching between your legs and hooking the hands behind that left thigh. Wherever you are, the spine remains on the mat and that right foot remains flexed to help protect the ankle and the knee. Nice big inhales, nice big exhales, using your breath to help unravel your muscles, to find greater ease. And wherever you are, left foot will plant back onto the mat. And keeping the legs exactly how they are, we'll let them fall to the left side. So left knee and right foot will plant, or not plant necessarily, but fall towards the left. Maybe they'll plant on the ground. If you notice that they're hanging in space and it's uncomfortable, you can place a pillow underneath to help support. Arms can come out into a T and you can keep your gaze skyward, or maybe you let it fall to the right hand. So right knee continues also pointing skyward. You might feel some opening continue to happen on that right hip area. We'll inhale, begin bringing the knees back through center. And keeping them exactly how they are, we'll let them fall to the right this time. So the weight of that right ankle is helping the left knee maybe sink a little bit closer towards the ground. And again, you have the option to bring a pillow underneath those knees to help support them. You can keep your gaze skyward or towards the left hand this time. And then bringing the knees back up through center and unhooking the foot, hugging both knees in, giving a little rock from side to side. And then coming back into stillness, keeping the left knee hugged in, right foot will plant this time, knee pointing directly up. And then finding your yoga strap again. We'll hook it under the left foot this time. On our next inhale, we'll begin straightening into that left leg to the extent that feels good for you. And either staying here, or if you would like to explore straightening into that right leg, you can go ahead and do that. You can imagine sending your breath to areas of your body that feel tight or tense. you are, the right foot will replant to the mat, bending into that left leg, removing the yoga strap, setting it off to the side, keeping that left foot flexed and crossing it onto the right knee. Left knee begins extending out to the left side. And either staying here if you feel opening in that left hip, or you can begin drawing that right knee towards you, maybe hooking your hands behind your right thigh, and gently drawing your legs closer to your heart. Whatever variation you are in is enough. In this moment, reconnect with your breath if you've lost it. And wherever you are, that right foot will plant onto the mat, and keeping your legs exactly how they are, we'll let them fall towards the right. So left foot and right knee falling towards the right. Left knee stays pointing skywards. Arms can come out to either side and gaze can be skyward, or it can fall towards that left hand. Continuing to open through that left hip. And all this opening that we're doing is to help the body find maybe a little more ease, a little more expansiveness, supporting the body and its functioning the same way that it has supported us. We'll inhale the knees back up through center and keeping them how they are, letting them fall towards the left this time. The weight of that left ankle helping the right knee sink maybe ever so slightly closer towards the ground. On our next inhale, we'll bring the knees back up through center, uncrossing the left foot, hugging both knees into the chest one final time, giving a little rock side to side. And on your own time, when you're ready, we'll be making our way into final Shavasana. So legs extending out long onto the mat, arms extending long on either side, palms facing skyward. Taking a few moments, any final wiggles, anything you need to do to allow yourself to fully rest here. Close your eyes or soften your gaze when you feel ready. Letting every muscle, every part of your body soften, and be held by the earth below you. Give your body this gift of rest. After everything it's been through, all the work that it's done to get you to this moment. Now it's time to rest and to let it be. So we will remain in Shavasana for several more minutes, and I will bring my voice back to guide us out of it. So take this time, take rest.
And so coming back to your breath, and coming back to your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes, or taking a big stretch, like you just woke up in the morning. Really taking your time here, rolling onto one side or the other when you're ready, and using kind, loving hands to help lift you back into a seated position. And I invite you here to keep your eyes closed or your gaze soft. Continuing to breathe nice deep inhales, filling up through your belly and your heart. And exhaling as you let it all go. This breath is yours for you to take with you, to have for the rest of your life. It's something we can always come back to. We can use our breath to come back to our body. We'll close this practice with one Om. And so I invite you to maybe bring your hands together in heart center and to either join in or to receive the Om. Either way, we'll take one cleansing breath together, inhaling through the nose. And exhale, letting it all go. We'll inhale, fill up for Om. Thank you for being here. Your body thanks you for being here, for taking this time to support it, and to give it some time for rest. Everything you have done to get you to this point is enough. And I am grateful for everything you have done to get you to this point. I'm grateful for you showing up to this practice. Together we will bow our heads. Namaste.